Yes guys, this is the latest 2022 Proton Saga, also known as the Saga MC2 for minor change 2, or as we know it, yes, yet another facelift. So let's see what Proton has done to its best-selling sedan model. And of course, I hope it's not too late for me to wish you Selamat Hari Raya, Adil Fitri, Maaf Zahir dan Batin, from myself, Hafriz Shah, and all of us here at poltan.org. First things first, let's settle the issue at hand here. I know a lot of you would ask, why are we still getting another facelift for the Saga? Isn't it already so old? Where's the brand new model? Well, yes, but not really, because this is the third generation Proton Saga. The Saga BLM that came about in 2008, together with the FL, the FLX, the SV that came after that, those were all the second generation Saga. The third gen Saga came about in 2016, the one that looks like this. So it really hasn't been all that long, it's less than 6 years. The car did get a significant change in 2019 with the Saga MC1. That was a major facelift that brought about all new bumpers, a new gearbox, a 480 to replace the old CVT. Now fast forward 3 years, though of course it doesn't feel like 3 years because of COVID, and here we are now with the 2022 Proton Saga MC2. This being a facelift, let's talk about the visual changes first. Although, as you can see, it looks pretty much the same as the old car. This is an MC after all, a minor change, so you shouldn't be expecting such big changes. The one you'll see the most is, of course, the new logo. This car finally gets the latest round Proton logo, and you'll see this around the car as well, on the wheels, and also on the inside on the steering boss. So the Saga now joins the rest of the Proton range, the X50, X70, the Persona and Iris with the new logo, leaving just the aging Exora as the sole Proton with the old logo. Also different is this infinite weave grille, although unless you put the car side by side, I don't think you will really notice. This now has a slightly more open design, but yeah, you really have to put the car side by side to even see what the differences are. What is more noticeable is the, well, I would call it a mustache. Over here, this is now finished in red to match the X50, and I do think it looks really, really good. One thing though, this is only fitted on the top spec Premium S version. Everything else gets this mustache in silver instead, which doesn't quite look so good. Also exclusive to the top spec Premium S is the front body kit as well as the side skirts. All the other models don't get any body kit, and I do think it's a bit of a weird thing that it only has body kit on the front, on the side, but not the back. Anyway, let's move on to the back side. Here you can see the brand new 15-inch alloy wheels. These do have brand new look to it, and from afar it looks like a 4-spoke Shuriken style design. But look closely and it's not quite as simple as a cross 4-spoke design, because in between those 4 spokes there are additional spokes in the middle. It's just that you can't see them as much because this has a dual tone finish. You can actually see the full design of this wheel on the non-S premium version that has the whole wheel finished in a single tone silver finish, and I do think it looks quite good. However, I still think the previous 5-spoke design from the pre-facelift version did look a lot better than this one. The base Saga standard carries over the 14-inch wheel design from before. As for the rest of the car, you will see that it looks pretty much the same as before. The exact same bumpers, exact same lights as the MC1. So those of you expecting, LED lights anyway on this car will be greatly disappointed. What's actually new is this center rear garnish over here. It's now finished in gloss black, but this is only fitted on the top spec Premium S version. What's also new is this. Yeah, you can actually open the boot from the back on the outside, but again, this is only on the Premium S. The rest of the Saga range, together with all the older ones, you need to open it using the key. Yeah, very old school, but what can I say? It's a budget car, right? Another super late but much needed addition to the Proton Saga is a keyless entry and push start button. This car's main rival, the Perodua Bezza, has had this feature since 2016, so it's about time the Proton finally catches up. But as with everything I've mentioned in this video, this is only fitted on the top spec Premium S version, so you do have to pay extra for this feature. Anyway, let's get inside. Now onto the inside, again it looks pretty much the same as the Saga we all know from before, but it does get quite a few key enhancements here and there. I've already mentioned the new push start button feature, but the placement of the actual start button is a bit of a peculiar one. It's on the right side, lower half of the steering wheel column, instead of the more natural, or I would say obvious position here where there's a blank button right next to the right aircon vent. And from where I'm sitting, I can't really see where the button is, but this is something that you will get used to very quickly, I guess. And then there's a whole lot of red highlights as well, like you do get in the latest iRis. There's red around the aircon vents, the steering control buttons, the steering wheel stitching, the seat stitching, the carpets as well, so I do hope you like the color red. What's more significant is the inclusion of a leather-wrapped steering wheel, a nice addition for the Saga finally, as well as a combination leather and fabric seats. I think these look really good and they're quite comfortable as well. Another thing that I think makes a big difference is the change of color in the headlining. It used to be plain light grey, it's now fully black. Again, to match the iris, I think it looks really good for the Saga. Down here you'll see a set of brand new aircon controls. These look very similar to the ones fitted on the Persona and the Iris facelift, and somewhat similar again to the one in the Proton X50. These look a lot better than the old 3 rotary knobs from before, and they feel, well, slightly less cheap to operate as well. At the top here there is the same exact 7-inch touchscreen from before, but the OS is now different. The operating system is new. It feels quite snappy to use, everything just works as it should be. There's a lot more colors to be had from before as well, so it does look a lot more lively, but at the same time we are still missing Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, which for 2022, yeah, should be standard by now. And speaking of disappointments, this pretty much has the same cabin as before, so the steering wheel to me doesn't quite move up as much, so it might block the top half of the meters. And the seats don't really have a proper height adjustment feature, so especially taller drivers or especially short drivers may have some trouble finding the ideal driving position. This has been an issue on the Saga for very long now, so yeah, I hope the next one would fix this. At the back here, obviously nothing has changed, so space is just about okay. I think most people will sit in the back here just fine. And tell you what, the rear seats may look extremely plain, but they are a lot more comfortable than the ones in a Perodua Bezza. It's the very reason that every time I book a Grab, I am wishing for a Saga instead of a Bezza to come pick me up. But I do have to mention that with the all-black headlining, it does feel a little bit more claustrophobic sitting in the back here compared to before. And I also have to question the B-pillar cover over here. Why is it still in light grey, whereas everything else in the car has now been changed to black, including the grab handles? That's just a bit weird. Now on to the rest of the car. Nothing has changed under the hood. We still have the same 1.3-litre naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine making 94 horsepower and 120 Newton meters of torque. Transmission the same as well, a 4AT, but that's not really a problem at all, because as it is, I do think the Proton Saga has a much better driving experience compared to a Perodua Bezza. What has been upgraded, however, is the safety specs for the Saga range. Crucially, even the base Saga standard AT is now fitted with electronic stability control, or ESP. So now 3 out of 4 variants of the Saga range has this all-important safety net that is a big step forward for the Proton Saga. But of course, the Saga is still slightly behind its main competition. The Beza has the ASA Active Safety Assist features like AEB. So yeah, Saga is still behind in that department. So as a whole, what do you think of the 2022 Proton Saga MC2? Do you think this is enough to keep the Saga competitive for the next few years, or do you think the changes are, too minor? Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you for watching. Selamat Hari Raya and stay safe, everyone.